and you can choose any of the three. So that's the minimum of getting the STEAM designation. So you don't have to do anything. I'll be sending a list to Chris Carranza at the STEAM department at the end of the year, which schools have qualified for the points. So you don't have to do anything. If that's, all you want to complete for the year, then that's what will be required.
Bonus points. And I just want to apologize. I just realized I hadn't pressed the record button.
And I
until
didn't
now.
realize it either. I'm so excited to get started.
So, you will, when you get the recording, you just not have our introduction and just like the very first part. But I also wanted to acknowledge that I put the transcript, the live transcripts as well. And so I know that if anybody, uses the transcripts, please feel free to do so. And like I said, I just pressed recording. So we'll continue with our presentation. So bonus activities, as Alexandra said. So we have our lessons that we set up in, typical teacher lesson plan format. But we also acknowledge that, schools do a lot more beyond the classroom. And so we have come up with, a system of rewarding schools for the initiatives and opportunities that you're already taking advantage of. These include and are definitely not limited to what is listed here. So we tried to have some that were specific to Miami, some specific to Broward, and some specific, some that are just general for everyone. Some of the examples that you see here include the beach cleanups, some Earth Day initiatives that you might develop, poster contests that you participate in. Again, it really ranges, and it really is focused on anything that deals with environmental education or any of this environmental sustainability topics that we focus on. So for example, I know a lot of schools participate in the Fairchild Challenge. We also want to give you credit for those as well, because I know you guys are putting on a lot of work for that. If you're working on something that is not on this list, just email Alexandra and see if you can get credit. And the list that you see here is specific to elementary school, and each level has their own list because there's some opportunities that are just more geared towards middle school and high school. But a lot of it is very similar in all three levels. But again, if you have questions about an activity, please reach out to us.
Yeah, and I just want to make two more points that as attending the mid-year meeting, you're going to get some bonus points for being here today. And then also the deadlines that you see on the screen aren't necessarily when you had to submit them by. Again, that'll be that April 29th deadline. It's more when it took place. So for example, the SECME competition was back end of last year, but you can still definitely submit for the points now through April to let us know that you completed that or participated in that. So what we have coming up in April, during Earth Month, we like to celebrate by encouraging schools to host an Eco Summit. And an Eco Summit is a way to showcase the work done by the schools. Each school is encouraged to organize an event at their school to present the lessons, initiatives, and knowledge learned to the entire school community. So these events can be joined with, for example, STEAM nights, any Earth Day activities you might have planned, or end of the school year school fairs. It's really left up to each school what they want to do and how they want to engage, even the parents and other teachers and members of the community. For high schools, we're going to try to do another Youth Eco Summit in one central location. So we're still working out the details right now, and then we're hoping to send out more information on that. But we do want to gauge some kind of interest. So Celia, if you don't mind dropping the link to register for the high schools into the chat.
She just did. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So anything that we're going to share in the chat with the links and resources, we'll share in the email that I send along with this recording and the PowerPoint. So don't worry if you don't get all of the links down right now. Or if you have anything else to mention about the Eco Summit?
Yep, just that the registration link that Celia just shared in the chat is only for high schools. So as of right now, the Eco Summit that we are organizing is meant for high school students to share with each other. Our tentative location is going to be outside, so I know that COVID is still an issue. So we are being very considerate of that. And so it will be the first weekend in April, which I believe is April 2nd. That is our tentative date. And we are looking at locations that, can host outdoors, and so that we can invite not just the parents of the students that will be coming to the Eco Summit, but we can hopefully have it as an open event. But in order to do that, we definitely want to make sure that we know, just have an idea of how many schools would be interested. We also have an opportunity to provide transportation, like a bus, if you want to bring a bus full of students to the Eco Summit, and it'll be on a Saturday. So this is not during school hours. This will be on a Saturday to make sure that the parents and the community at large, general audience, can make it. So if there is an issue with transportation, we can try to provide some transportation as well. The date right now, the tentative date is April 2nd. But again, we are waiting to confirm location, and we should know that within the next week or so. But just wanted to give everybody a heads up, and just let us know if you're interested in participating in that. So we are also looking at our award ceremony. The last couple of years, we had, we hosted the award ceremony online. And we definitely believe that that event is super important, because we obviously want to reward the schools that have been working throughout the year and implementing the sustainability practices and environmental education lessons into their schools. Now, we would love to host one in person, so that we can give out the prizes and receive, banners, trophies, and any prizes that we're able to give this year. But again, we are now trying to figure out, because, with the pandemic, things change very quickly. So that date will be at the end of May. That's about as much information as we can give right now, but just wanted to give everybody, a heads up that we will be having an award ceremony, whether it is in person or virtual, or maybe even a hybrid. We're even talking about hybrid, where we would have those that can make it to a location come, and those that cannot figure out a way in which they can join us online, to make everybody kind of comfortable. And obviously we just want to acknowledge the work that you guys have been doing. So more to come on the end of year award ceremony.
And we just want to remind everybody that in addition to, submitting the activities via the Google Forms that we have on the guidebook websites, we'd also love to see, evidence of the activities that you're completing in the form of, pictures, videos, completed worksheets, anything like that. So those can be sent directly to me via email, alexander@dreaminggreen.org, because since we can't, upload attachments to Google Drive, I know that sometimes there is a space issue with sending attachments. So up there we have a couple recommendations on how to send me multiple items at the same time, because I know it can be kind of tedious sometimes. I don't want you to send, 20 emails with one picture attached. I mean, you can do that. You're more than welcome to do that if that's the only way you know how it works. But there are some platforms like Google Drive, Dropbox, and WeTransfer that kind of make that easier, that you can send everything at once. And then also we love to share and highlight all the fantastic work you guys are doing with you and your students through our social media. So you can see our handles up there for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I know some people, only use one and some people use all three. So whichever ones that you're most comfortable with and would like to use, just don't forget to tag us, and we have hashtags, and that way we can see it and we can share it with our following as well.
And social media and the pictures and videos that are sent to us are really helpful, because those are the things that we use. We're completely funded by grants and foundations. And so when we write up reports or proposals for local foundations, or even, the EPA, some of our grant funders, they love to see pictures. They love to see the work that the students are doing, because it's really hard to tell a story of what goes on in the classroom. And so those pictures really help. Also, I know through social media that our partners at Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Mr. Carranza, loves social media, and I know he tends to like and will call us and say, "Oh, I love what the school is doing." So that's another way to kind of showcase what you guys are doing, and we like to share those things. So that's a little reason why we ask you guys to send us that. So we also want to remind everybody that we do offer grants to support your green initiatives. And those are unique to each school, what we would support. So our application form is on the website, and you can get ideas from previous years. We want these initiatives to be student-led. The grant projects are intended to stimulate solutions-focused thinking. So having the students look and identify a problem or issue at their school or in their community that they want to tackle, we can provide some, seed money, grant funding to implement those ideas. It's also an important learning tool in of itself, because it helps the students to work together, to conceptualize and brainstorm projects, demonstrating various sustainability themes, writing proposals, developing budgets, and the evaluation criteria. Now, doesn't mean that the students are the ones kind of inputting the information, in their computer. It could be just that the teacher records, what she's hearing from the students, and then the teacher will input the information, because we don't, we only need one application per school. But it is an important leadership task around project management and developing skills applicable to a myriad of future careers. So some of the different types of grants that we have our challenge grants that are take place from October through March. And so we give about 350 grants per quarter to support those initiatives and activities. We have also implemented Eco Summit grants, so that in April, you can showcase your students' green projects to the entire school and community. And so some of those grants, that's what we say, we can cover transportation, we can cover some materials to set up, those events. And then we have a competition registration grant that covers costs of competitions, registration fees, material reimbursements, and travel. And those grants are a little bit smaller. They're up to 150. And so, for example, the design and build competition for high school, some of the schools that are participating in that got a chance to receive some reimbursements for the materials that that they bought to create those 3D models that they will be presenting soon. I'm super excited to see what those models look like in February.
And then we just wanted to kind of remind teachers about the Green Apple designation program that is going around. Through our partnership with the district, we know that this is going to be a priority moving forward for MDCPS. So we just want to kind of reintroduce it to the teachers. And I know that we had, Barbara, what was it, 3 schools last year that received their designation, new schools? So that's really
Yes.
great. So just as a reminder, the Green Apple designation is a program by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to recognize those schools that have made the commitment and taken the steps towards being more sustainable. It encourages schools to conserve and protect natural resources. This green movement can save schools money and generate good publicity while protecting the environment. So I think if you're in the room here, I think you're definitely, in the running for this kind of designation. So our goal is to really help schools through the application process. And one way that we do that is by taking our environmental self-assessment that you did at the beginning of the year. And we took that directly from the Green Apple designation application itself. So if you already completed that at the beginning of the year, you already kind of went through the first few steps of this application process. So we also want to offer up a contact that you can reach, Michelle Drucker. She's the environmental chair for Miami-Dade County Public Schools PTA, and she's also interested in helping schools achieve this designation and wants to help schools through the application process.
Another thing that we were able to do this year as a pilot with Mast Academy was do a PD through My Learning Plan that focused specifically on getting Green Apple designation. And so if you are interested, if any of you are like the professional development liaison at your school and is interested in setting up a teacher-wide professional development specifically for your school about Green Apple, we already have a kind of template that we submitted for the My Learning Plan platform that we can share with a timeline and all of that and activities. If you're interested in maybe one of the teacher workshop days and want to have us out there for a couple of hours to help you with this Green Apple designation, just contact us and we'll be more than happy to share that with you.
And speaking, since you brought up My Learning Plan, Barbara, I forgot to mention at the beginning that unfortunately we're not going to be offering master plan points for this session today, just because it is, going to be quick, short, sweet, to the point. But if you need some kind of certification for completing the session today, for joining us today, just email me afterwards and I can get a certification of attendance for you afterwards.
And so speaking of timing, I think we're ahead of our schedule today, which I'm sure, nobody will be upset if we finish the meeting a little bit earlier today. So we do have a couple of special guests, one which I will be introducing now, and she will be able to share her screen. One of the initiatives and partners we're working to work on this year is I See Change. And so I'm going to pass it on to Claudia, and she is going to tell you all about this online citizen science component that is nationwide, but now is focused here in Miami-Dade County and some of the partnerships. And the idea with this is that it is open. We specifically put it in one of our lessons this year as an additional opportunity, specifically for the 4th through 5th graders in water quality and conservation. But we do want to make this available to all of the students. And so I'm going to ask now Claudia to share her screen, and we're going to give her some time for her presentation.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Bear with me as I am visiting Orlando to visit a few springs. So I appreciate the time that you're offering here for me. I just will be presenting. Let me know if you could see my screen. How about now?
We can
Perfect.
see your screen. Yep.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Claudia. I work as the Miami Community Manager for IC Change. We are a platform where we look to connect people to their changing environments to make solutions together. And I'll talk a little bit about what we do in our initiative here in Miami, as well as our partnership that we have with Green Schools Challenge with Dreaming Green. So as I mentioned, we connect people to make solutions together. And we do that by crowdsourcing and analyzing qualitative and quantitative data to inform public project planning, design, and emergency preparedness. We do that by intersecting cities, engineers, and residents together. So we figured that the problem here is that engineers need more specific data of what the reality looked like. And citizens can do that by taking pictures and providing this data to engineers where it would benefit them against the hydrological models that they use, where expectations can be different and flooding can be a lot worse than what their models are saying, and other climate impacts like extreme heat and invasive species, for example. So our solution is a community platform for climate response that benefits both the city that we're working with and the residents, because the residents would get a quick alert when things like flooding or pollution on the bay are happening. And the city receives the information in real time in a very organized way. So then they don't have to spend extra time in putting the data together. They already receive it all, exactly where that issue is happening and the details of how citizens are being impacted by it. And here I just want to show how, when you post a picture, you can upload up to 20 pictures and you can describe how it's impacting you. You also want to show the extent of the flooding. So we have an idea of how much flooding that certain location is getting. Then community members receive real-time alerts and updates when current events are happening by their community members or by the community manager, who would be me. So what we're doing with the Green Schools Challenge, I just want to show you, we have created a landing page that would be very easy to use. So instead of, this is one page where every student can go to, and you can download the app directly from it, or you can use your browser. This is the direct link. So then it's much easier to navigate. And so, as I mentioned, our initiative is rain and flooding, but we're also interested in learning more about heat, ocean pollution, and plastic pollution. And then it's just very easy for you to navigate and share. Hopefully, there it goes. And we started working with Dreaming Green last year by being part of the as an extra activity. But this year we're looking to be part of the curriculum, and that's where teachers can come in and help to ignite that curiosity to students. And it could be through different topics that I'll talk very shortly about. So we have seen in Miami that not only coastal communities are flooding, we're also seeing areas like Little Havana, which we know is suffering from gentrification because developers, this is a very prime real estate area because it's 8 feet level, it's much higher for sea level rise. And so but we're seeing that these areas are flooding even more so than coastal areas because we kind of have left it forgotten. And so posts from residents really help target areas that we may not be looking to. Same in Allapattah. Allapattah, as you can see, horribly flooded. And one of the residents said that it was trapped for 4 days in her house. And you may be living with people who are disabled in some way. And so this is really important information for the city to be aware. So then funding not only goes to infrastructure projects, but also goes to community impacts. And that way funding can be allocated where necessary. We're seeing king tides. A picture like the one to the left, for example, helps to see how much the tide has risen. We have seen Miami Beach king tides is it's still a very much existing problem. So this is not a one thing fix, and it'll take some time, but the community can really be part of it. We have seen that in areas within Miami-Dade County as well, in areas like El Portal or Miami Shores are seeing flooding as well. Hialeah, very much sitting on the west, but unfortunately, because it has canals nearby, those canals can really be exacerbated because when you pump water, it usually goes to the river. And as we're also seeing sea level rise, it's just not an effective way to do it anymore. So engineers are looking into different ways on how to attack the problem. We see that now also through heavy precipitation alone, we're seeing extreme flooding in many different neighborhoods across the city and the county. So we see here our super icy changers. For example, Aaron is an architect who lives in Edgewater, and he's been documenting flooding in his neighborhood for quite a few years. And in here, we can have, for example, students study how flooding and heat waves are affecting their lives by posting observations on icy change. It would increase students' knowledge of the risks of climate change that poses in the community, encourages community conversation and knowledge by sharing among students and other residents, and also to inspire to observe the environment and promote tangible steps to address climate change and other environmental challenges that South Florida is facing. Here, Aaron is also documenting the Signature Bridge is seeing a lot of flooding, especially when we have heavy precipitation. This is after 2 hours of extreme flooding, of extreme precipitation. So this is a very critical moment right now to have every community member engaged, but also citizens. And we know Biscayne Bay is suffering from pollution from many different factors, from excess of nutrients, from the extreme heat now that we have during the summer. And so, as we know, this couple of last years, we have been really suffering. The Bay has been suffering, but we're slowly moving, but I think that these things can take time. So the faster we move and the more we work together, the faster we can create solutions. Icy changers are also looking into oil leaks from boats and marinas, and also plastic pollution that they see in areas. For example, this is in Coconut Grove. And as I mentioned, extreme heat and air quality are very important, and the tool provides extra data. So it's very easy to sign up. You just create a name, and you can create a nickname. You don't have to have your last name. If you decide not to, just set your locations. It's very important to always provide the location when you're submitting your post, so the engineers know exactly where that issue is happening. And then here you can, it's very important to show as much as you can, find surrounding areas where it can show the extent of the flooding on, or the impacts that you're seeing that you would like to report. Here's a little bit more of a visual for you to see what you would be looking at when you're signing up. And here you can change the date and location. You can backdate it. Maybe you have pictures in your phone where you have recorded flooding from last year. You can change the date, location, and place the approximate time. Here also provide some citizen science tools where sometimes it can rain, but it doesn't cause flooding, or sometimes it floods after 15 minutes, or sometimes it floods after 5 minutes. All that information is very important because then we can see if there are other factors that are also playing here. And I also encourage teachers to join the community and to monitor what the students are posting. You can also comment on what they're posting, or other community members are posting as well. I think that teachers are very critical to be part of this, as we students can really see how their observations fit into a larger picture by posting on IC Change. And you can use it as a climate journal to track and collect flooding measurements. As I asked, depth approximate or measured water levels could be very helpful. And this really challenges students to complete their classes, or how to earn points as well if they're part of the Green Schools Challenge. And often the students or teachers can take pictures of their completed challenges and email the photographs to Dreaming Green. And then, as I mentioned, I think that each lesson learned is followed by the student completing an action to address a specific investigation. And IC Change will pick a monthly success story featuring schools and classes. So I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry if I went a little bit over, but I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. I will be sharing some resources in the chat. Thank you very much.
Claudia, before you go, we did put some resources. We put the link, and we put the survey that we'd like everybody to complete specifically about this part of the presentation. But I wanted to clarify, to just follow up with a couple things, and wanted to open it up for questions from the teachers that are specific to this. So in order for us to know that your students or you are submitting, again, there was a link that's specific to Dreaming Green. And then also don't forget to submit those bonus activity forms and mention that you participated in IC Change. Obviously, one of the things that we have discussed with Claudia is that, maybe this is not appropriate for like a first grader that doesn't have a phone. There are limitations in terms of, technology, because obviously you're capturing these pictures with your phones. But as we know, a lot of students have phones. I would say, I don't want to say all, but we know that a big chunk of students have phones. So, if they don't feel comfortable maybe creating an account, maybe if they can send you the pictures and tell you exactly when they took it and get that information, and then you could submit in behalf of your class or of these students, that's another way to do it. So I just wanted to make sure that in order for us to know that you guys are participating in the citizen science, that you're going through this particular link, and that you're also telling us through that bonus points submission form. And so I just want to open it up to any questions regarding this platform and IC Change. And so if any teacher or wants to unmute themselves and kind of ask a question to Claudia, we have some time to be able to do that, and we have her here. So I appreciate your time, Claudia.
Of course, thank you for having me. I also want everybody to know that I've shared some resources via chat, like our website. I also shared the Dreaming Green Schools Challenge landing page. Also, very quickly, our topics where we have 11 climate impacts, not only flooding, because I know that we have a wide range of challenges. And I encourage students to really play with the platform and invite them outdoors, and also the teachers to walk alongside with their students. We also have an ambassador program where students can be their captains in their neighborhood. And so they can also interview their parents, interview their neighbors. I really don't want to close anybody into one box. I think that kids are so innovative and ingenious. So I would love to really open it up to whatever idea they have. I'm very open to work with the community. I also share the sign up form and also a teacher's onboarding guide. Maybe you would need some guidance on how you could be able to participate. And lastly, how to talk to kids about climate change. It may be a little bit helpful. So I invite you to browse through those resources.
And Claudia, there was a question on the chat here about do people report problems only? How about when issues are fixed? Is there a way? Is that also there?
Yes. So, it's not only because we have the partnership with the city of Miami where they're solely looking into flooding right now. So if there's really no issue to fix, but you have ideas, maybe you would like to share a thought, all of that is welcome on the platform because it invites to more conversation. And also your people who live nearby, as well as global members can see your post and maybe comment on that. So it really opens to conversation. So we're really looking for more qualitative data than anything else because we want to hear the real stories, how you truly are being impacted. We're really focused on equity and inclusivity, and that's why we're working to invite frontline communities who are suffering the most. In our case, our inland communities, which they have been forgotten in a way, but they're now being part of the conversation, which I think is really critical.
Are there any other questions? We will be sharing the links that we mentioned in an email. So I know it's sometimes hard to catch things in the chats, but yes, we will provide that in the follow-up email. But are there any other questions for Claudia? Feel free to unmute yourself if if you're comfortable, or putting a question on the chat. It's up to you.
Claudia, real
Yes.
quick question. So you're saying this is only for the city of Miami, not Miami-Dade County. Is that correct?
As far as flooding response, everything else we're a global platform. So we have users from Germany, we have, people from Hialeah or Doral also posting and sharing. But as far as flooding response, let's say El Portal was flooded for 5 days and they didn't really receive any assistance because we don't have partnership with Miami-Dade County. They didn't get the alert in real time like the city of Miami does. So in the case of flooding, only a resident who lives within the boundaries of the city of Miami can receive a real-time assistance. And so also that's not to discourage anybody because we have met with the mayor, with members of the Office of Resilience several times, but there are other things that come into account. So we haven't been able to close that partnership just yet. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
But they can still post.
Of course.
They just won't get that
Real-time
notification
assistance of flooding. Yeah, let's say if you live in Coconut Grove, you're part of the city of Miami, and you're saying that your street is flooded, they will send their public works trucks to pump the area.
Yes.
If they receive enough. That's what it means by that.
Right. No, I understand. I mean, I live in Sweetwater, so near FIU, and we do have considerable flooding, but I did reach out to commissioners, same thing, mayors, whatever, and it did get resolved. They were able to, and it was just clogging of the drains, really.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. A lot of the immediate issues are also the drainage. It's clogged because of plastic pollution.
exactly.
So yes, so knowing those details on how we need to shift the perspective and look into other things that can be immediately fixed, that is not just sea level rise, that is not just heavy precipitation, but there are other factors that we can do right now to avoid, you know, what will happen during the summer times.
Yes, correct. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Well, thank you, Claudia. We will share, is it okay if we share your email information in case
course.
anybody has questions? Perfect, perfect. So when we share the links, we'll share your contact information as well. If anybody is interested in learning more about IC Change, the platform, we really encourage you guys to take a look at the projects, have your students look at some of the observations from other places as well. You know, it really is a great platform to actually physically, you know, visually see what is happening in our communities. So thank you, Claudia, so much for joining us.
Thank you. And just quickly, I see Vilma Quevedo just sent me a direct message, and she asked, when does the city plan to use this data to make changes in the city or to improve the situation? That's such a great question. So they're using this data right now because they are targeting 5 different areas across the city to use. They would be using these posts as evidence to request funding from the state and from the federal government to get more money, because they have an X amount of money to work with, and that's not enough. Projects like this, stormwater, climate adaptation, takes an enormous amount of money, and they know that these 5 targeted areas are not enough, that we're seeing flooding in 11 different areas, maybe in 20, we don't know yet, because not every resident is being part of is participating in the tool. So the more people we have engaged and the more they help us target areas where needed, then we know that we need to keep seeking for grants and funding to scale projects like this. But they are using this data right now to help move the projects along and seek more funding.
And yes, do you see the question, Claudia?
Yes, Maria is asking, great cost-effective way to get extra set of eyes out there to get things done. Yes, just like Miami Waterkeeper is doing with the pollution in Biscayne Bay. Very critical information and for residents to get engaged. Do citizens communicate since problems in one boundary affects multiple locations? Yes. So if you live, let's say, for example, in Coconut Grove, but you see flooding that is happening in Brickell, please post. You are commuting to your work, and maybe you work in Miami Beach and you're seeing king tides and heavy precipitation happening at the same time and it's flooding, report that. So it's not just where you are, where you live. No, it's across everywhere you go. And because we also have global members, I think that it really encourage everybody to just post and report where they see environmental and climate changes wherever they go.
So the more observations that we're able to capture, the better of a case, you could say, for those you know, municipalities to communicate, because it is not just a specific issue to one location, but it shows that it is an issue that affects various communities.
You got that right. And we can also approach the city or the town or the village and be like, we have 30 of your residents who are reporting issues here, here, and here. We have the data. And then that also encourages them to partner with us and engage residents as well.
Well, thank you, Claudia, for your time, and definitely hope you enjoy the springs.
I know.
Not too cold.
It's 50 degrees, so I think that the springs are going to be 40 degrees or so. But we just went to the Wim Hof method, the Miami Ice Club in Miami. So we have our breath work set up. We're going to be doing our breath work and just jump in the springs. So I'll tell you how that goes. I'm excited.
Awesome. And last question, Ben just mentioned how they can access the data. Is there a way where they can see what has been posted previously and kind of see, right, Ben, if you want to jump in?
Because since you said it was a worldwide, it was a global platform. I was wondering, like, you know, if we're traveling, we're going to Venice, we see flooding, and we want to see like a sea level rise, or maybe a student or somebody, you know, maybe in a higher level, they want to access the data to you know, for maybe their thesis or anything, if that's something that could be, you know, accessed.
Yes. So when you go to your profile, you can see all the posts that you made in various locations where you have. But we also have a map where you can see that is right now offered only to the government that we're working with. I don't think that the map is available for citizens yet, but we're working on it in a way where citizens can really see their reports in a map. So that's coming up very soon. Also video, we don't have availability to upload videos, but you can post up to 20 pictures. So those are the two things we're going to be releasing very soon.
Well, thank you, Claudia.
Yes. The more we get feedback from the community, the better we can upgrade the tool, because we're constantly working on the tool to make it better, more accessible. Whatever ideas you have, please send your feedback to me, Claudia at icchange.org.
Great. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Barbara.
And so we're going to move on to another opportunity for you guys to integrate. So Alexandra, go ahead.
Yeah, you can see my screen again, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So once again, Dream Green is partnering with Gavely, which is another nonprofit organization whose mission is to, inspire and activate positive, lasting impact. And so they do that by leveraging, innovative technology, creating captivating content, and taking evidence-based approaches to curriculum development, specifically for middle schools. So you can visit their website to access a series of videos, and they're really fantastic videos. Each video has its own topic, and then is associated with it. It may include like a follow-up activity or a quiz that the students can do on their own. Students can go in and make their own accounts and watch the videos and take like the little quizzes afterwards. So I think a high school curriculum is in development now, but for right now, it's just only offered for middle schools.
And so we're able to provide this program free of charge to all of our middle school schools. We have a specific way in which, like a little training in which you could see how you can share these videos. So these videos, you could either have the students watch them in class, or you can assign them if they have access to a computer and internet at home. So you can have the students watch the videos at home. You create a classroom, you give access to the students that you want to be able to log on and see these videos, and then do the quizzes or the activities on this platform. If you have any questions or any technical issues, please contact us, and we can put you in contact with the tech support and make sure that everybody is able to work and view those videos. So for the second year, we are partnering with Live Arts Miami from Miami-Dade College, who a couple of years ago launched an Eco Cultura series for the planet. And we are connecting students with artists and performers from around the world. This is something that we shared at the the launch, and we will be talking a little bit more. Make sure that everybody sees how we can access those resources.
Yeah, so through our partnership, we worked hard to develop a series of resources and workshops for you and your students to utilize or to bring together the arts into our curriculum that we develop. So for example, you can find resource videos that teach students how to, for example, write a poem, how to create shadow puppetry, and how to create a zine or a magazine. All the videos are created by artists who are really experts in their crafts, and they're both local artists and national artists that we brought in. And all these videos are located within the actual lesson plans themselves for you to access and to view. In addition to these videos, we are providing 2 separate workshop opportunities which complement the waste reduction and water conservation lessons. So unfortunately, the waste reduction workshop has already passed, but what it was connecting local artist Jose Elias to classrooms to teach students how to play instruments that they had created out of recycled materials, and how to actually play those instruments and become a classroom orchestra for a short period. So the second workshop is still accepting applications. You'll be connected with, or virtually or in person, with Dale, who is the director of the National Water Dance, to learn simple dance gestures inspired by water to get you ready to participate in National Water Dance, which is the National Movement Choir. So you can drop the link to register for that workshop in the chat. Those workshops will be taking place the end of this month and next. So if you're interested in that, I suggest you take advantage. Barbara, anything else?
And I see Maria is here from the Growing Place. I know that she had the Jose Elias go to her classroom, and I saw some really cute pictures of that. And so glad the teacher, you were able to take advantage. Maria, you were on mute if you wanted to mention something quickly. Oh.
Yes, it was an amazing experience. Thank you very much. From the construction, elaboration of the instruments to the performance, the kids had a blast. We love it. Thank you for the opportunity. And hopefully we will be part of the National Water Dance. We'll see if COVID let us do it. But thank you. It was wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful experience. The kids learned a lot. It was a hands-on activities. Jose was incredible.
And so for those of you who were not able to get the workshop, you could still do the actual lesson. There is some directions on how to have your students create those the orchestra, those musical instruments. And those you can find in our waste reduction and recycling lessons. I believe, yes, for elementary, middle, and high, there was a link on how to integrate that hands-on activity. So thanks, Maria. And we hope to get some more schools participate in this upcoming workshop for National Water Dance. Oh, I see Alyssa. Sorry, I missed you from Cloud Pepper. Yes, students at Cloud Pepper also participated. So super happy. Love those pictures and videos. We'd like to introduce another guest speaker that is joining us today. Pat Whitson is here to talk about an opportunity for teachers to participate in Youth and Peace in Action. So I am going to have her unmute herself, and Pat, I'm going to give you also, in case you wanted to share the website access, ability to do that. But Pat, take it away.
Hi there. I am absolutely thrilled to be with all of you. I'm a big fan of Dream in Green and all your work. It's just, it's beautiful to also see the, I see change, and I think we can all hold hands. So you can see my screen, hopefully.
Yes, we
My
can see your screen.
Great. So my organization is Youth Lead Change, and we are the local facilitator for a wonderful program that is the social emotional learning that is the foundation for, you know, not only what we do to make the world a better place with our students, but also how we do it with the foundation of really healthy leadership and team building. The collaborators for Youth Peace in Action are stellar. Rotary, Outward Bound Peace Building Center, Alliance for Peace Building, and the Institute for Economics and Peace. So this is also an online platform. It provides a certification, 12-hour online course to become a certified peace building mentor as a teacher, and also for your students to become certified peace builders. And then the second phase of the program is community project based. So it starts with a very kind of a mini design thinking course, leading to support via Zoom from the New Gen Peace Builder program partner, Zoom-led sessions to help students understand analyzing a program, identifying the stakeholders, and finding an inflection point that's going to be the most effective for creating measurable change. This is a program for high school students and high school teachers. The curriculum has been actually used around the world and throughout the United States for about 17 years. So it's evolved into a sort of a 7 modules, but it's really based in the social emotional learning of ways of being that invite others to collaborate in a safe space that supports real creativity, innovation, and while you're working on your environmental or social issue locally, you're also uplifting the culture of your school, of your community. So it involves learning about the drivers of conflict and something that they call positive peace. How to really listen. Language matters. What's nonviolent language. Some of the projects have had really significant impact that students have launched. Here are a couple of examples. Everything around the United States, really involving anything from flooding, tree planting, air quality. Here is one focused on the impact of a potential gas pipeline, learning advocacy, working with local government. Students here focused on really promoting learning advocacy. So this is something that I'd be happy to personally, I know we've had a long meeting. The website here, Youth Peace in Action, is very, very complete. You can see case studies, you can see examples of projects, you can see more about the content and the curriculum. And then I'm very, very happy to answer any questions and support you as the local facilitator in taking advantage of this. There is a deadline. There are 2 cohorts. One is launching in February. So the deadline to register is January 31st. And then the 12-hour, sometimes it takes 15 hours to go through the online course would be February and March. Then the design thinking module would be presented in the very beginning of April. And then projects can launch from that point forward, go through the summer. My organization, Youth Peace, Youth Lead Change, has mentors that can support students over the summer. The next cohort will be for the fall. So either one is welcome to learn about and sign up. And I'm here to answer any questions and help make it a success for you and your students.
Thank
Does
you,
anybody
Pat, so
have
much for the presentation and for joining us today. Yep, like you said, I just want to give everybody an opportunity if they have any questions to ask you directly. You can just unmute yourself and, ask Pat. I'm sure there are more questions will come up when they look at the website. So we have information like you shared with us of your, your email, of the website. We mentioned the deadline, and please feel free to reach out. And if you have any other questions, or share this opportunity with the teachers at your school that may not have been able to make it. Awesome.
Thank you again for including me today. Very inspiring, all of it.
Thank you, Pat. All right. We are going to be now sharing some additional resources just as links. I just wanted to go through these additional ones that we have found to be extremely helpful, not only with building our knowledge on environmental issues and climate change, but also that provide resources that are specific for teachers and students. So the first one is Climate Reality, the Climate Reality Project, which is a nonprofit started by former Vice President Al Gore. Climate 101 aims to provide information on climate change and its misconceptions, including the difference between climate change and global warming, climate doubt, and the cost of carbon. Our staff last year went through global training, and we found it extremely helpful. In this particular link, provides a lot of pictures and a lot of research that could be helpful from elementary all the way to high school to talk about these issues. Another great website that is based on a book is called Project Drawdown. And Project Drawdown provides resources and information to aid the world in reaching drawdown, or what you can do in the future point in time where levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere stop climbing and start a steady decline. And Project Drawdown specifically goes through steps that from like the most effective things that we can do, either individually, as a society, as governments, to help to reduce the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And it is really interesting. They have a poster that you can print out. They also have the videos in the different resources of the different actions that you can take to explain each of those and why those are the ones that have been chosen here. Another really great resource is Earth Force. Last year, we introduced Earth Force as a process that develops civic skills that young people need to make real change while deepening students' understanding of STEM concepts. And so even though the training is right now specifically for middle school, their resources are for K through 12. And their 6-step process was great to help facilitate how students identify problems in their community, can identify tools to solve those problems and how to become civically active, and to try to solve those problems. And so we really encourage you guys to take a look at those 6 steps that provides a framework with Earth Force. And finally, the last link, Climate History and Future by Powers of 10, allows you to get different perspectives of the climate and the environment in the past and the future, following different possible trajectories based on decisions we are making now. Now, this was put together by a local professor at FIU. And we've spoken to her, and she has said that she is willing to do presentations for students, through Zoom, and her contact information is on the website. And let her know if you're interested in that presentation that you heard from us. So if you have any questions about these resources, please feel free to reach out to us. And if you know of any other resources, I think a lot of the times, we are definitely looking for ways in which we can support teachers in building resources for whatever they're teaching related to the environment. So these are just the ones that we've highlighted today, but if you have others that you think are great, please share with us. And we are more than happy to, introduce those to everybody in the Green Schools Challenge program.
Great. So kind of our last item before we open it up, for discussion, questions, things like that. Dream and Green is excited to announce our kind of newest project that we have, which is called Recyclopedia. So through a grant, the Dream and Green team has actually developed a phone application and website that provides up-to-date recycling and waste management information for Miami-Dade County. So if you're not familiar, Miami-Dade County is made up of 34 municipalities, and about half of them are served by their own recycling companies. So there's often a lot of misinformation and confusion on what can be put into your curbside recycling bin or what cannot go in. So we kind of wanted to solve this issue, and we did that through this creating this app, Recyclopedia, which allows you to select your municipality, and then it provides you the information, what is accepted and not accepted in your curbside program. In addition to that, we also wanted to provide drop-off locations for items that are not accepted into the program, but can be recycled in another way. So for example, it can provide within certain 5 to 15 miles of your house, where you can take your plastic bags, like for example, all the Publix locations that are near you. Also where the nearest place to drop off electronics, for example, like at office supply stores, which pharmacies accept expired medication, and much more. So we invite you to, download the app. It's only available for Android right now in the Google Play Store, iOS version hopefully coming soon. But we also have a website. Is in the bottom right-hand corner there, recyclopedia.mdc.net, and kind of play around with it and explore. And we'd love if, after using the platform, to get your feedback by completing a survey. This is a really new space for us, and so we really rely on kind of the first users to provide, feedback and information, so we can really provide the best platform for Miami-Dade County.
And, the more feedback we receive, it would be extremely helpful, for us to build, continue to build this. And, like we said, we just launched it. We had a couple of beta testing opportunities, but please let us know what you think of the app or website. And we look forward to growing this with your help. Also, you can share with your students. We're also looking for feedback for students as well, because we made this app and website to be kid friendly. So as you're going through it, also keep that in mind. What other things we can add that you think, your kids would, find this interesting to use and helpful. And so I think
And it's
that-
available, sorry, in Spanish and Haitian
Oh.
Creole as well as English. Sorry, forgot to
Yeah.
mention that.
Yeah, so we were able to translate the content. So we are done in our presentation of what we wanted to share with you all, but we also we're glad to have a little bit of extra time for your questions, maybe something that we didn't touch upon during the presentation that you would like to ask, or maybe not directly to us, or maybe is a general question to fellow teachers. And we want to open it up. So please, if you feel comfortable doing so, please unmute yourself and let us know your questions or thoughts. Wow, quiet group today. It must be.
Good. That's happy Saturday morning. Hey, ladies, always a pleasure. Eric Marshall here at Miami Beach Nautilus. At the very beginning, you mentioned what you emailed to Christian Carranza for the STEAM designation, and that was 3 monthly submissions minimum, correct?
You have to do the beginning of the year activities and
Right.
3 monthly submissions. So the Green Pledge, the environmental self-assessment, and the setting the environmental goal, and then 3 of the monthly topics. It can be
All
any
of-
of the 3.
Right. All of those are done. I know that. I just want to make sure that that's what I heard. Nothing changed with
Yep.
regard to that.
Yep, that's still
You
the
guys
same.
with your
Yes.
Saturday mid-morning meetings are fantastic. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I've never seen you guys upset in 6 years of doing this. So super, super, super. Thanks for everything.
Thanks, Eric.
You know how that goes. And hopefully we'll get back to a banner stage. We were 4th place last year. I'm still tossing and turning about missing the top 3. I don't understand how that happened. Thanks again for everything. Really appreciate it.
No
Thanks, Eric.
problem.
Hi, Barbara. I have a question for Mrs. Woodson. I would like to do the social emotional workshop. Is it available for all the teachers?
Yes, it's a free.
For-
Yes, absolutely. It's a free program, and then you have support from me and from New Gen Peace Builders who've been doing this for almost 2 decades.
Can we do it on our own pace, or you have established a few days and a few hours to meet? No.
It's self-paced, so you do it on your own time at your convenience, and then you get a certificate as a trained peace building mentor.
Thank you. Sounds wonderful. We need more of this.
Yes, thank you. It does seem to be, in a world of urgent action, how we work together and how we build leadership and how we create innovative teams is just, it's a beautiful program teaching those skills.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that reminds me, even though we are not giving master plan points for this particular workshop, because we didn't go through my learning plan and some of the restrictions that I had for this mid-year meeting. But if you would like a certificate of participation for this, just let us know, contact Alexandra, and we can definitely provide that for you. Ben, and you mentioned something here about middle school redesign. I'm not familiar with that. Could you let us know what is middle school redesign?
So middle school redesign was a program that was developed for middle schools. It's an elective class, and all middle school students have to take it. And I guess it was promoted to kind of like kind of augment the students' social, emotional behavior that is kind of like lacking when they compared the K through 8 schools and the middle schools. There was something lacking there with, you know, student behavior and emotional. So they devised this Maui Edge course that all middle school students have to take. And part of it is with Maui Askedon, which is kind of like the social emotional part, but kind of like the second half of the year, they start getting into these STEAM projects through a Discovery Channel with STEM Connect. And you know, my thoughts and thoughts of many teachers, very like cumbersome, the lessons, and they're not really not much support with the materials provided. So I would think that with the Dreaming Green and the programs that Dreaming Green is associated with, it's more locally based here. That would help our community a lot more than the programs that they do have, and they're more interesting, more engaging. It's easier for students maybe to, you know, do field trips on than the current lessons that I see on there too. So and then, you know, you could kill two birds with one stone. So it's something that teachers, since we have a lot more support with Dreaming Green, it's something that could be, I could see them marrying together and kind of like being better than the programs that they have now. But then again, I'm only a teacher.
You're only the one implementing it in the classroom with the students, right? Thanks, man. Yeah, we'll look more into it. I know we've been working a lot with the school district, and we've been
So
attending.
I know that maybe Carranza was something that he could look at. I don't know if because there are different kind of things going on.
Yeah.
And
And I don't know if you all are aware, but Miami-Dade County Public Schools is doing these meetings with this energy task force for the last 6 months. They're developing a sustainability plan for the entire district that they'll be, you know, presenting to whoever the new superintendent is. And they're really looking at holistic education as well. And so we've been involved in those conversations. So any feedback we receive from you guys, you know, we share with the district, and any kind of initiatives that you feel would be connected. Again, holistic education is really important to us in terms of like environmental sustainability. So thank you, Ben. I had a question here with Susie. So I know that there's a couple of teachers here that are participating in the design and build competition. So for the final event, we do now have a couple of updates. One starting with the date and location. So the date and location for the design and build competition final will be on Saturday, February 26th. And the location this year will be at Jose Marti Park Gym. Alexandra will be sending out some more details regarding that. We are right now thinking it's going to be a closed event because of COVID, which means we would only have the teams presenting and our judges, and obviously the parents that want to check out. But we're hoping to maybe, you know, depending on how things are, have it open to everybody that would like to see the projects. Right now, we have 7 schools participating, 11 teams. We now have a great lineup of judges, including somebody from Commissioner Higgins's office that will be, you know, serving as a judge and talking to the students about their ideas. We have also a representative from FIU Landscape Architecture that will be a judge, as well as an architecture and design professional from a company called Curtis and Rogers. So it is going to be really exciting, and we're really looking forward to that. Again, we have an opportunity. I know, Susie, your school registered to attend next week for a walkthrough of Little Havana. And for those that are not high school teachers, basically this design and build competition is, we change the theme every year, but this year's theme is we picked an empty lot in Little Havana, and the high school teams were asked to redesign and imagine what could be developed in that lot that would help to prevent illegal dumping, which is a huge issue in Little Havana, and would also and integrate green infrastructure. And it is a semi-permanent building or whatever they design. And so we're really excited to see Commissioner Higgins, because she is, she represents that location and district, to actually come and listen to the students. Hopefully this would be something that, the top team could maybe present at the city of Miami, and, maybe change. Our idea would be for them to implement the idea of what the students come up with. But the event itself, like I mentioned, will be Saturday, February 26th at Jose Marti Park Gym. And Alexandra will send some more specific information about that. We weren't thinking about live streaming, but maybe that's a good idea. Just so that, the middle schoolers can also get some inspiration on what these high school teams do. We could also maybe have, Facebook Live recordings of them, because the event itself usually takes about 2 hours. So it's a long event to stream, but maybe we can, post some of the presentations of the teams, and because they're showing 3D models, they're bringing 3D models as well with their presentation. So maybe that's a good idea. Are there any other questions or any other comments that you guys would like to ask or share? No? All right, Alex, it is 11:32. Sorry guys, we're going 2 minutes over, but we'll send all these links. Don't forget to also, like I mentioned, fill out the survey and let us know what you thought of this, this mid-year meeting, because we always look for your suggestions to make it better. And we look forward to seeing you guys all in person soon. And we're here to help in any way that we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for coming.
You.